Imagine a man who lived 500 years ago, yet seemed to understand the world of today. A man who painted the most famous portrait in history, designed flying machines long before airplanes existed, studied the human body with the precision of a modern surgeon, and filled notebooks with ideas that wouldn't become reality until centuries later. This is the story of Leonardo da Vinci, an artist, engineer, dreamer, and the ultimate example of what human curiosity can achieve. Leonardo was born in 1452 in a small Tuscan village called Vinci. He was the illegitimate son of a notary and a peasant girl, a humble start for someone who would reshape history. But from the beginning, Leonardo saw the world differently. As a child, he wandered the hills around his home, sketching animals, studying plants, and asking questions that no one around him could answer. Why do birds fly? How does water carve rock? Why is the sky blue? Most people simply accepted the world as it was. Leonardo wanted to understand it. His father noticed his son's natural talent for drawing and, when Leonardo was about 14, sent him to Florence, the cultural center of Renaissance Italy, to work in the workshop of the great artist Andrea del Verrocchio. This was Leonardo's doorway into a world where creativity, science, and invention came alive. In Verrocchio's workshop, Leonardo didn't just learn painting. He learned sculpture, engineering, metalworking, anatomy, carpentry, skills that would shape the rest of his life. One famous story says that while helping paint a religious scene, Leonardo was given a small task, painting an angel. When Verrocchio saw Leonardo's angel, delicate, luminous, more lifelike than anything in the picture, he supposedly said he would never paint again. Because how could he compete with such natural talent? Whether the story is true or not, one thing is certain: Leonardo's skill could not be ignored. But Florence was not enough for him. His mind was exploding with ideas, many too strange or too ambitious to fit within the city's artistic world. And so he looked elsewhere, to the wealthy and powerful rulers of Renaissance Italy. In the 1480s, Leonardo traveled to Milan and presented himself to its ruler, Ludovico Sforza. But he didn't introduce himself as a painter. Instead, he arrived with a letter describing his talents. He could build bridges, weapons, armored vehicles, canals, and machines of war the world had never seen. Leonardo had become something entirely new, a military engineer. Among his designs were early concepts of tanks, multi-barreled guns, giant crossbows, and even a machine that looked suspiciously like a modern helicopter. Many of these inventions were never built. They were simply ideas, visionary, impossible for the technology of the time. But that didn't matter. Leonardo was exploring the future, sketching the possibilities of what humans might someday achieve. Even during this period of engineering and invention, Leonardo continued to paint. And in Milan, he created one of his greatest masterpieces, The Last Supper, painted on the wall of a monastery dining hall. The Last Supper captures the moment Jesus tells his disciples that one of them will betray him. What made it revolutionary wasn't just the composition. It was the emotion. Each disciple reacts differently: shock, confusion, anger, disbelief. Like a snapshot of human psychology painted centuries before psychology existed. Leonardo wasn't just depicting a biblical scene. He was studying how people think, how they move, how emotions travel across a human face. To create such realism, he spent hours observing people in the streets of Milan, watching arguments, laughter, fear, and surprise. This obsession with understanding human nature would shape every work he created. Leonardo wanted to paint people as they truly were, not as symbols, but as living, breathing humans. To do that, he had to look beneath the surface. In dark, candlelit rooms, Leonardo dissected dozens of human bodies, something few artists dared to do. He documented muscles, bones, veins, the shape of the heart, and the structure of the brain. His drawings of the human anatomy are so precise that modern doctors still admire them. He was one of the first to understand that the heart is not a simple pump, but a dynamic, twisting muscle. He sketched a fetus curled inside a womb with detail unmatched until the invention of modern medical imaging. Leonardo wasn't just observing. He was trying to answer some of the greatest questions of life. What makes us alive? How does the body work? What is the relationship between the physical and the spiritual? Leonardo's notebooks, thousands of pages filled with sketches, diagrams, and thoughts, reveal a mind always moving. He studied the flight of birds to design flying machines. He experimented with optics to improve mirrors and lenses. He investigated the flow of water, predicting principles that scientists would rediscover centuries later. What's astonishing is that Leonardo rarely finished what he started. His curiosity was too big, his ideas too many. He would begin a project, explore it deeply, and then move on to the next question that fascinated him. Some people criticized him for this, but others understood. Leonardo wasn't trying to complete tasks. He was trying to understand the universe. In the 1500s, Leonardo returned to Florence and began working on a portrait of a merchant's wife named Lisa Gerdini, a portrait that would become the Mona Lisa. Why is this painting so famous? Because it feels alive. The Mona Lisa's smile changes depending on where you look. Her eyes seem to follow you. Her skin appears soft, glowing with a sense of presence. Leonardo achieved this through a technique called sfumato, a delicate blending of shadows that creates the illusion of breathing flesh. But it wasn't just technique. Leonardo poured everything he had learned about nature, anatomy, optics, and emotion into that one portrait. He carried the painting with him for years, constantly improving it, never fully satisfied. It became more than a commission. It became a reflection of his inner world. In his 60s, Leonardo accepted an invitation from the King of France, Francis I, who admired him not just as an artist, but as a thinker. In a peaceful house near the French town of Amboise, Leonardo spent his final years teaching, drawing, planning new inventions, and reflecting on a lifetime of exploration. He died in 1519 at the age of 67, but his ideas did not die with him. His notebooks, scattered and forgotten for centuries, would eventually resurface and reveal the magnitude of his genius, a man who imagined helicopters, robots, submarines, contact lenses, and scientific principles far before anyone else. Leonardo da Vinci was not just an artist, nor just a scientist, nor just an inventor. He was a reminder of what human curiosity can achieve. He taught us that knowledge is not a collection of facts, but a journey. That creativity is not limited to one field, and that the world is full of mysteries waiting to be explored. Leonardo didn't just live in the Renaissance. He created the Renaissance, and his influence continues to shape the modern world.